from the Lowe's Hotel and the Comcast Network. It's your morning. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Coy and Gwen Owens, in for Connie Cola.
Millions of people move every single year. Now, while most of us pay a great deal of attention to our careers and the relationship choices that we make, most folks don't give too much thought to choosing a place to live. According to our next guest, that is a huge mistake. In Dr. Richard Florida's new book, Who's Your City?, the award-winning author and economist says the place that we choose to live is the single most important decision that we can make. And he joins us live from New York this morning. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, Gwen.
Really the single most important decision?
Absolutely. You know, 40 million Americans, 40 million of us move every year. And, you know, in my case, my dad told me, Rich, study hard, go to the right college, get a good job. My mom said, you know, your dad's a bright guy, but the most important decision you're going to make, honey, is the woman you choose to marry. What my parents never told me, and, you know, I've now studied this for more than a decade, is that place you choose to live, it's going to set your career trajectory. It's going to help you find the right girl or boy. It's going to be the right place, hopefully, to raise your family when you retire. And it's also a key factor in what makes you happy in your overall life.
What would you say are the factors that we should take into consideration when we do pick a place to live?
Well, in the book, Who's Your City?, we go through these in a 10-step program. We show maps and we show diagrams, we show rankings. But the first thing you got to think about is where you want to make your career, because job markets are specializing. And if you want to be a computer scientist or an engineer or a musician or a designer, there's certain markets for you, and we show you them. If you're a single person looking to meet the person of your dreams, the East Coast is better for men generally. The West Coast is better for women. When it comes time to raise your family, you make another big move. Boy, you got to pick the right place. And I'll tell you the other one. With the baby boomers now coming into retirement, that empty nester decision, when the kids are gone, is a critical one. So at each step, the book it shows you the ratings and rankings of the best big, small, and medium-sized places, the places you'll fit in best, and the places you'll be happiest.
You know, you talked about the best places to live for singles. You said women and men, East Coast, West Coast. But a lot of those cities are in our CN8 region. Why? Can you talk to us about the cities and why some of them are tops for singles?
Well, if you look at your region, I mean, it's the second biggest. We call it a mega region in the world. It has 55 million people, and it has, get this, $2.2 trillion in economic wealth. That'd make it like the third or fourth or fifth largest country in the world. It's just a vibrant place for singles. And you know, singles, 23 and 24-year-olds are the people who move the most. If you're a 23 or 24-year-old listening in, take this very seriously. Singles want to be near great career opportunities, but they also want to be around a lot of other singles. And this region, this mega region, East Coast mega region, is just chock full of them. But in particular, if you're a guy listening in, it's a better place in general for boys than girls.
All right, and what about families with children? What are some of the cities that are better to raise the kids in, and why are they so attractive?
Well, the East Coast, you know, is chock full of them. I lived in Washington, D.C., the metro area, including Maryland and Virginia. That's a top one. Greater Boston is off the charts, and the greater New York area. Philadelphia is a great place if you want affordability. If you want a place that's close and proximate within great transportation access to raise your family and even to retire, Philadelphia does really, really well. The other thing the book does, Gwen, is it reports a survey we did with the Gallup organization. We surveyed 28,000 Americans about what matters to them in a place. We report the findings. And one of the things we find is, in addition to a low crime rate and good schools, people want to live in a community that has great parks and recreation and great architecture. You know, when we're picking a place to live, they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but the aesthetic value, that beauty of the place really matters to people. And I'll tell you, the people who live in a place they consider to be a great place, they're a lot happier with their lives.
And you know, Florida, it's funny that that's your last name, because usually we think of Florida for retirement, but you say actually Trenton, New Jersey is a great place for people to retire. And we don't have time. We've actually run out of time, but I did want to just throw that in because there's so many people from Trenton who are watching us here today.
And Gwen, it's a great place for singles and young professionals too. Thank you so much.
All right, Dr. Richard Florida, author of Who's Your City? Thanks for joining us. Great read, everybody.